We're now moving down to the southeast, to the coastal town of Dungarvan, where a local brewing company hopes to woo visitors and locals alike. Geraldine Harney has the story.
For many years, Cormac O'Dwyer enjoyed being an amateur home brewer of beer. He used to enjoy a beer at home with his brother-in-law Tom. Now they're partners in their own business, the Dungarvan Brewing Company.
Well, it all began as a hobby of mine. I was brewing at home for a good few years, tinkering with different recipes, and I suppose I led on from there. Both myself and Tom, my brother-in-law, and one night just having a couple of beers and having a conversation. What if, or I wonder if, this could turn into be a business. So we started down the road of looking at it then, and I suppose once we did, I started tweaking the recipes of the beers we wanted to make, getting people to taste it, getting a bit of feedback. It was a long process, a couple of years of a process, but we just constantly worked on the recipes that we wanted to make, for the beers that we wanted to make. That was the summer in 2008. So while we were looking at that, within the space of 6 or 8 months, both Tom and myself were made redundant, and that was kind of the tipping point where you decide you keep going ahead with this, or is it time to just go and try and find a job somewhere. I mean, there was immigration and everything was on the cards at that stage, really. At the time, I was working in a local electronics factory. Tom was a quantity surveyor on the building sites, and we were expecting, myself and my wife Jen, we were expecting our 4th child. Tom and Claire were expecting their first, so there was a lot going on, I suppose. So we forged ahead with it anyway, and we started at that time, I suppose, putting a business plan together, and we started formulating the beers we wanted to make. Yeah, the financial investment, we pretty much, between both families, put whatever bit of savings we had into it. We also got a grant from the County Enterprise Board, which really helped, and it really helped because it almost opened the doors to the banks a bit more. They took our idea a bit more seriously when they saw we had the backing of the Enterprise Board.
There are now 3 beers in the company's range: Copper Coast, a red ale, the award-winning Helvig Gold, which is a blonde ale, and last but by no means least, Black Rock, a traditional Irish stout. So what makes them special and different?
What makes it unique is it's just that the ingredients that we use. There's no artificial additives whatsoever, no chemicals. We don't even use gas to carbonate the beer. It's a natural carbonation using yeast. And it's Cormac's skill in it. The 10 years he spent as a hobby, that's really come to fruition now, that he can put what he's learned in those 10 years into practice here.
Getting any business off the ground is never easy. And in the highly competitive drinks industry, it's very hard indeed. So how has it been?
Very supportive, I have to say. The off-license, the customers that we're in at the moment there's a lot of people are delighted to see something new, something Irish that they can support in a recession. And people are kind of happy to see maybe, nearly a good news story that someone is trying to make something, a go of something in a recession. And the places that we're stocked, they get what we're doing. They get it's a niche beer, bottle conditions, beers that are just natural, unfiltered, unpasteurized, real beer.
Renowned chef Paul Flynn from the Tannery restaurant in Dungarvan was an early supporter of the company.
Myself and Mark came to Dungarvan 14 years ago when there was a couple of restaurants here, but we were pioneers in a way of what we were doing. And I love to see small business, people who are brave to start up their own business with a unique product. I mean, we don't have many microbreweries like they have in Britain or the States or France, and it's something that we're so tied into these big breweries and conventional beers that were just hammered into us over the years that we have to drink. I mean, myself included. It's such a breath of fresh air to come along and see these people doing wonderful things in my hometown and really successfully.
Nearby, publican Andrew Queely agrees.
As far as I'm concerned, it's doing very, very well. It's got a great local market, and also it appeals to a lot of visitors. They always look for a local beer, and now it's great to be able to say that there's one brewed in Dungarvan again after so many years,
Cormac and Tom, who are ably backed up in the business by their wives Jen and Carol, have made an enormous leap of faith. Has it been worth it?
I think so. I'll tell you next year. But so far, you know, it's been really exciting, you know, first of all. And it's a good sense of achievement, especially when you're doing it for yourself, you know, for ourselves. It's a good feeling getting up in the morning, going doing something that you really enjoy.
A new cup that cheers down in Dungarvan.